Tanya.
I'm Ebong.
And I'm Kate.
And today we're here at the Reserve, located at 1426 L Street Northwest, and I am having what I think is called the captain, and I would like to say,
salute.
Salute the captain. It's very good.
Everything here is good, actually. We're at a wine bar, but they're letting us taste a variety of different things. But we've given Director Walsh from the Department of Employment Services the wine, so he can tell us how it really is.
We do the official tasting.
Thank you very much. Well, you are very official because you're here in your role as director. But we just want to ask you a couple of questions, actually, just about DC and things going on in the city, because a lot of people don't get the opportunity to talk to the director of one of the political agencies here in town. So first thing we want to ask you is Department of Employment Services. Why does DC have a Department of Employment Services and everywhere else has a Department of Labor? Do you know?
As a matter of fact, I do. But the first thing is you guys have to call me Joe, because otherwise it's after
We can
hours.
handle that.
I think you can handle that. So we do, because the Department of Employment Services is one of the old names that come out of some of the World War II and Depression programs.
Okay.
And a lot of other states have gone and changed their names. And we're thinking about doing that too, to become Labor and Workforce Development, because it really reflects much more what it is that we do. You know, we still have a component that's about direct job matching, the old employment services. We still do unemployment. But we're much more today about retraining, getting people educational opportunities, giving people a chance to find out what new types of jobs are out there that they may want to be part of. And that's where the labor safety and the workforce development part come in.
So who comes to you for help? Just people that have no jobs?
You know what, we get actually all kinds of folks, especially in an economy like this. You know, unfortunately, in the last couple of days, we've been talking about the unemployment rate in Washington going up as high as 11.1%. And all the national economists are talking about how this is going to be with us for quite some time. You know, even as the economy gets better and jobs start to come back, it's going to take a while, you know. So the types of people who come in are really all kinds. So a lot of folks who, it's really quite difficult, but they've been out there for a long time on unemployment. And those are folks who really need really kind of intensive services to try to help them get back on their feet. So we've extended unemployment benefits for them. We've given allowances, a little bit of money for children that they have at home. So we're really trying to help those folks get back on their feet. But then you have folks who have never been unemployed before. We've got more lawyers and graphic designers and people who work at professional associations.
Probably a lot of lawyers.
The variety of jobs here in DC is just incredible.
And those folks are looking, either they see the cutbacks coming, so they want to maybe change careers, or they're thinking about, you know, can I go back to school? Is this a good time to do that? So we see folks who are unemployed, and we see folks who are thinking about, well, what's next for me in my career? What's the new opportunity for me?
So you can point people toward training as well as maybe help them find a job.
That's right.
Or get them a little bit of help if they don't have a job.
Like counseling, in a way.
When you come into any of our career centers, we have these things called one-stop career centers, but when you come into them, we've got career counselors there, and they can do anything depending on what your situation is. Everything from just giving you some coaching about what type of, how to redo your resume and how to interview, because maybe it's been a while since you've done that, to you know, what kind of education or training you might need to get your next job.
I have this feeling that, like in movies, they always, you know, there's a long line and you sit down and then they're like, they go through the Rolodex like, well, we've got a stenographer, you know, position available. How has technology changed how you do your job? And with the changing resumes, do you encourage folks to get websites and use Twitter and all those social networking things?
Well, I think that's a great question. I got to tell you, so much has changed just in the last year, in part because at the where I'm at, the Department of Employment Services, we've really made an effort over the last 9 months to really transform everything. We just had an all-day meeting just today, as a matter of fact, to talk about how we're going to use technology more in these career centers. But you also have to remember, because it really was, I think when I came in there really was the Rolodex. You're not kidding. I mean, it really hadn't changed a whole lot. But the folks who are there are really hard working. They're trying to do a good job. So why not give them the tools that technology, you know, can provide and give them a good job search? So we're putting those in there. But also got to remember, maybe half the people who come to us have never touched a computer. They don't know how to do their resume.
There are still those people?
There are those people that
I knew a few of them myself.
Have not yet opened up their Twitter account, Kate. I got to tell you. And so, we do. So what we're going to do, though, is try to really plug those folks in to technology, because that's the way the job search and the networking is going to be going forward. So we're actually talking about what types of things we can do at the career centers to help people get comfortable with technology.
Do you also have, like, for example, networking events or group events that actually help people network as well as learn how to network, or relationship building in a sense?
Well, you know what we do? We do most of our relationship building sort of directly with employers, and then try to plug a bunch of employers together into some kind of networking event. But what we've actually found is that it's the organic networking events that really do the best job. It's when folks get together and they decide to have an event at some place like this, or they decide to host their own network event. And I'd love to support those and send some of our folks to them, or try to encourage employers to go. But it's not just us, fortunately, doing this. It's not just the public workforce system, but you've got employers and you've got nonprofits and you've got these groups out there that are also doing great work trying to connect people to jobs as fast as possible.
You talked about the unemployment number,
Right.
which I'm not going to repeat because it's horrible. But I'm sure government loves programs. I'm sure you have some programs in place to try to combat that. But instead of talking about the programs necessarily, can you tell us what some of the maybe up-and-coming careers are? What
You
are
won't
we?
let me talk about programs?
Well,
All
you
right,
talk
fine.
about programs. But I mean, what do you think?
I don't even know what to do with myself.
If
I can't
need
talk about a
job,
program.
What
But
should,
okay.
what should I go for? Am I in healthcare? Am I, going to
Well,
drive a trash truck?
Kate, that's exactly right. Because no one comes in and says, where's my program? I mean, they come in and say, where the job's going to be. And I think that there are two really exciting emerging industries that people have been talking a lot about, but I don't know if people really know exactly what they are. So one are green jobs, and the other are new healthcare jobs. And the thing with green jobs is it kind of sounds, it's a little fishy. It's a little bit like everything. I mean, no one can really tell what a green job is.
Been in the news a lot lately.
Yeah, it has been. But the way I'm looking at it and the way others are looking at it is you've got I think a historical parallel is maybe the automotive industry and how it had been chugging along for 20, 30, 40 years. But then you hit the end of World War II and American life completely changed. We were building highways out to suburbs. Everybody had to have a car. It completely transformed the way we live, the way we got around, where we worked. I think that green jobs has the chance to be that transformative because it's not just, it's going to start off kind of slow with people putting in insulation and changing windows and weatherizing their house. But it's going to be everything from solar panels to telecommuting to the smart sensors in your house. I would love one to tell me to stop running my dishwasher at 6 o'clock at night because it's the most expensive time to do it, right? But that little smart meter would tell me to set it at 1 a.m. and everything will be fine and I'll pay less.
Yeah.
But that's a complete change in mindset. And once people get that mindset change, and I think that's what's happening, is people are really going green. That you're going to see a whole lot more jobs than we're thinking about. More than just like sort of the car batteries and the weatherization. You're going to see jobs everywhere in every sector that's going to be green.
You just don't know that right now until you actually run into it.
That's it. We're really, really at the very, very beginning of it. And entrepreneurs are really embracing this. And that's the exciting part too. So we know we have some programs, that will actually get some folks working green jobs right away. But the really exciting thing is this is going to keep growing over the next 10 or 20 years. And medical records, I think, is the one for healthcare, too.
I agree.
I mean, when you go to the doctor, you switch doctors, even if you haven't been sick that much, you've got a medical file that looks like the Manhattan phone book. You can now put all of your medical records on a thumb drive, essentially. But what we've got to do is get the hospitals and the providers to do that
To
work.
standardize everything.
Absolutely. So when you go into the doctor and you throw it in whatever computer, there's your healthcare
With
record.
security and all the other stuff.
And so that's going to take a ton of work. All that security system, all that IT work, and people know what medical records are all about, so the medical side of the field. But I think that's another one that just, I mean, we're talking about this a lot in the news, right? The healthcare. It's 1/10 or 1/20th of the economy, so this is a huge sector too.
Well, we appreciate all the work that you're doing in jobs, but we also like to ask most of our guests anyway, what's your favorite thing about DC? Do you have a favorite thing about the city?
Okay, so this is where you're just totally going to embarrass me as a history geek. So I grew up in Boston and lived here for a while and moved back to go to grad school. And when I came back here, I got to tell you, the first things I did again, I just fell in love with the monuments and the museums. I am a total American history geek, and
I think
it
we
just
all are.
you just get that rush. I came in right around the time of the inauguration too. I was just moving down right around the time, and you never feel more patriotic or get that rush of American history as when you're at an event like that. So you're happy now? You just embarrass me as a history geek, but
Welcome to
that's my
Washington.
story.
That's right.
You have to embarrass yourself, once, and now you're officially
Now
a
I'm good. I'm
Washingtonian.
officially.
Yeah,
There we go.
Well, we're so glad to have you here as a Washingtonian and helping us out because
Glad to be here.
jobs are extremely important here. You know it, we know it, and you know it. Thanks so much for joining us here on this episode of The District Dish.